Hey, folks, it's time, or it's almost time. We are about 3 minutes away from the start of Global Tarot Circle for December. Today is December 4th, 2019. If you're watching in archive, thank you so much for being here on YouTube or on Facebook. And if you are watching in archive, I hope that you watch. I hope you play along. But don't get upset when we don't respond to you, because obviously if we're not live, we're not live. Okay. People are starting to come into the room. We see TK, we see Leisha. So glad you're both here. TK, you were the first. Absolutely. You did a good job. Very good. Any chance we'll see you Sunday for our 4 Elements workshop? What do you think? It would be cool. Maria, nice to see you. Glad you're here. Okay, so people are starting to come into the room. We are 2 minutes away from our official start time. Joe, glad to see you. Hey, Joe, you're local. I think you're still local. I think you're still here. Joyce, Deirdre, Trisha. Hey, Trisha, you changed your name on Facebook so we can all remember that you're called Trisha. That's wonderful. Betty, Marion, Amy, glad to see you. Marianne, glad you're here. So many people coming into the room so quickly. I really appreciate it. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I am trying to say hi to everyone. Joanne, Matthew, everyone. Most of you know this already. But if you look behind me, you can see that beautiful chakra banner, quilted and embroidered by Joanne Matthew. Okay, Joe, make sure you come to our holiday open house December 15th at my new office location in Palm City. From 12 to 6, have readings, bring donations of non-perishable food items. Hey, Billy, what are you doing in Yonkers? Good to see you. David, glad you're here. Hey, you're pretty local. You should come to our holiday open house as well. In fact, and Steve, okay, you guys, here's the deal talking about holiday open house. I think most of you know what the deal is, but every year, right before Christmas, I do this thing where I gather readers and healers together to give short mini sessions for free. And I ask people to come in. They can sit with as many people as they like during the course of the day in exchange for their donation of non-perishable food items, which we give to the local food bank. Last year, we raised 600 pounds of food. We'd like to do the same or better this year. This year, for the first time, we're doing it in my new office. And Steve, who is in Pennsylvania, is getting on an airplane to come and fly down and read here. So if you want a reading with Steve, aka Fast Horse, he'll be here reading as well. And so what that means is if you're a few miles away, you really have no excuse to come and either volunteer as a reader. I could use a couple more readers between 3 and 6. I'm good between 12 and 3. We've got 2 shifts of readers. But since Steve is willing to get on an airplane and come here, he has just raised the bar for the rest of you. So I hope to see a lot of you here. And I'm looking forward to meeting Steve in person for the very first time. Okay, so lots of other, do I need a reader in psychometry? Heck to the yes. Abso-freaking-lutely, David. I would be so honored and happy if you would be willing and able to do that. It's a good opportunity to promote yourself. You can bring your business cards. I could use you from 3 to 6. Sunday the 15th, you can come early, have some services yourself. Would love to meet you in person. PM me later and we can make arrangements. I would love to have you. Very good. Okay, let's see. Let me go back. I missed some people there. Lisa, good to see you. Haven't seen you in forever. You haven't seen our new office yet. Hoping to see you soon. We have a workshop here this Sunday, following Sunday holiday open house. Okay. Irene is here. Susan is here. Linda, all the way from Liverpool. Glad to see you. Maya is here. Where in the world are you right now? Are you in Rhode Island? No, New Hampshire. But you've been in the UK. You've been everywhere. Deirdre, glad you're here. Joanne says the holiday open house events are always fun and for a good cause. Joanne used to read at them when I did them in Connecticut. TK says he will do humorous tarot readings. That would be hilarious. That would be good. And it's funny because Susan had suggested that in the workshop portion of our time together, we do some humorous stuff. So you guys are definitely thinking along the same lines. So thank you all for being here. Linda, glad you're here. Celeste, good to see you. Glad you're here. Okay, so this is Global Tarot Circle. We are live right now, December 4th, 2019. This is our last Global Tarot Circle of the year. We meet again, of course, in January. And okay, to be technical, it is not the last of the decade because the decade doesn't begin until 2021. But the years of 19 are going to be over. There's a way to say it. How about that? Karen, so nice to see you. So many of you know the drill. Hey, Anna, glad you're here. Good to see you. Many of you know the drill. For the first half hour, we do readings, and we have a very specific format for readings. Any of you who are readers and who have your cards with you are welcome to play along. This is specifically for tarot reading. So if you have your tarot cards with you and you want to participate, now's the time. Get your cards out, get them shuffled. Here's how it works. Anyone can ask a question. Just go ahead and put it in the comments. Please don't double dip. One question per person. If you have other questions, you can talk to any of the wonderful readers here to schedule a private reading. Or you can come back next month. To answer the question, I'll pull a card first. I will read that one card. And then those of you who want to read for that person will put that person's first name, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. If I read for you, the next thing you have to do is scroll through the comments to make sure you get the rest of your reading. What we are doing is each pulling one card to form a multi-card reading for all the people we read for across the planet. When we get to the halfway mark, we're here for an hour. When we get to the halfway mark, at about 7:30, we'll end readings and we will do a workshop. Hey, Sherry, nice to see you. Glad you're here. I love doing this. You know, it sort of grew out of I guess we used to do it on WebEx. Joanne remembers. And when the technology got better, we got rid of WebEx and we moved over to Facebook Live, and we've just been running with it since. And actually, that brings me to an announcement. Okay, first question in. What's up with Charlie's legs? What is up with Charlie's legs? Oh my goodness gracious. We will absolutely take a look at that. That'll be our first question. I am also going to start doing a regular monthly live on my YouTube channel. It's going to be pre-scheduled, and it will be a specific workshop. So a little more formal than what we do here. It won't include readings unless readings are part of the actual workshop. So I'll let you know more about that. Okay, so we're starting our questions. We're going to start with Celeste. Anyone who wants to read for Celeste, please give your Celeste's name, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. What's up with Charlie's legs? So this is a great teachable moment to begin with because it really is a medical question. And there are a lot of readers who are like, oh my gosh, if the reading could go anywhere around medical stuff, I'm not doing it. Okay, we are not doctors. Celeste knows that. She's a reader herself. She, I know, will take proper precautions and will see the doctor, will do everything that needs to be done. We're not here to make diagnoses, but let's see what we see from a spiritual perspective, from a physical perspective. Let's see what it is. Okay, what's up with Charlie's legs? Page of Pentacles reversed. I really do think a doctor is needed here. There is something going on, something in the way he is taking care of himself or not taking care of himself that does seem to be problematic. And it could be hurting his mobility, actually. I do think that the medical community will have some solutions. I do feel like you need to get on that and take care of that. So, if you'd like to ring in on Charlie's legs, go ahead and Celeste, name of the card, and your interpretation. But I do think this is indicative of a health issue that needs to be paid attention to and dealt with. Okay, Maria, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Maria's getting in after the fact on the New Beginnings 2020 on YouTube, so you can join her there. What do you need to pay attention to? What does Maria need to pay attention to in regards to this, to doing a live on YouTube? If you'd like to read for Maria, go ahead and put her name, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. King of Pentacles, just do it and do well. You know what you're doing. You got this. No problem. You got it. Okay, for Linda Rogers, and we've got a couple of Lindas here. This is Linda Rogers. What will be my main focus in 2020? Okay, we'll see. And don't be surprised if we come up with more than one, because hey, a year is a long time. There can be many foci in the year. Okay, so if you'd like to read for Linda, you might want to put her first and last name because we've got a couple of Lindas. Linda Rogers, name of the card, your answer. What should Linda's main focus in 2020 be? Two of Wands. Planning for the future, figuring out what you want to envision and what you want to manifest. Recognizing your own power to do so. Okay, TK. Okay, so here's TK's question. By the time a year has passed, when we get to the new year 21, are you in the USA or Canada or India? So, I'm not sure how to do that reading with just one card. I would tend to do 3 cards, one for the USA, one for Canada, one for India. So I don't know how you want to do that. I'm going to give you the freedom to just say TK and say what you did and what answer you got. Okay, so Three of Pentacles reversed, not India. Canada, 7 of Wands, maybe, but not likely. I would say 9 of Swords reversed, not to worry, you'll still be in the US. Okay. Maya wants to know about her love life. And notice that's all she said. She hasn't said, about her relationship, about someone she's seeing. She hasn't given us any specifics on which to go. So have fun with that. But let's see what we got. What do you see for Maya's love life with one card? Put her name, Maya, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. And for those of you who are newer readers or new to this format, if you find that we are going quickly, try to do every other one. Or just do the ones that you feel called to do. You don't have to. The only person here who has to do every single one is me. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. Maya's love life. Okay, Maya's love life. Okay, and if you don't have a question, I'm not a fan of doing a general reading with just one card, and even though many cards come together, it's still just one card per person. So if you just want a general reading, the question to ask is, what does the universe want me to know? Okay, let's see what we got here. We see some readings happening. I see Irene reading from Maya. Okay, Maya's love life. I haven't even done that one yet, so Irene's right on it. Good girl. 3 of Cups. Hang out with your girls, have fun. If you're not dating anyone specific right now, or if you're dating more than one person, that's okay. This is more about enjoyment. And if you're doing something, if you're with someone and you're not enjoying it, it might be time to let it go. Okay, we got a lot going on for Maya here. Okay, so now Linda Bozaleski. This is Linda B, everyone. You know, as I said, we have a couple of Lindas. If you would like to read for Linda B, go ahead and put her name, Linda B. Do you see me and my husband coming together? Seems like we don't have the same views, etc. Okay, so what do we see about Linda B's marriage? If you would like to read for her, go ahead and put the name, Linda B. Hey, Kim, glad you're here. Kimberly Essex. I was just wondering where you were. Okay. So, Linda B., the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. Okay. For Linda B., you know, we have the Five of Wands reversed. That does not say to me that you're going to start to see eye to eye or that you're going to start to agree with each other. Could you just agree to treat each other with respect? Could you just agree to disagree, to pick and choose your battles? Maybe that would be helpful. Okay, let's see. Leisha, what does the question want? What does the universe want me to know? Okay, if you'd like to read for Leisha, go ahead and put his name, the name of the card you got, and your answer. What does the universe want Leisha to know? Knight of Cups reversed. If your love life is not going the way you want it to, you may need to change your tactic about the way you communicate or the way you meet people or whatever it is. You may need to make a change. Okay, Joe, good to see you, Joe Bethune. Her name, J-O, the name of the card you got, and the interpretation. My question is, I met a man 6 weeks ago, and I've had 2 dates so far. I can't read him. Can't read if he's serious about a relationship or not. Okay, this is a fun one. So for Joe, the guy she just has had 2 dates with, how's he feeling? Now, this is another teachable moment because it is the dreaded third-party reading. Is it okay for us to say how someone else is feeling? I would say yes, because if he hasn't said, she needs to know. So let's see. You know, I think it's perfectly okay as long as we do it in a way that is loving, is proactive toward healing. I don't think it's okay to spy on people if there is no reason to do it. If you're just being nosy, if you're just being gossipy, I don't think that makes sense. But in something like this, you know, how is the guy that I've had 2 dates with feeling? I think that's a reasonable question. So if you feel comfortable answering that question, please go ahead, Joe, J-O, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. The Hierophant. So this is an interesting thing. The Hierophant in this context can indicate marriage. Now, does that mean he's seeing you as marriage material? Is he already married and you don't know it? It's an interesting question. Let's see what the other cards say, what the other readers say. It's not a romantic card per se, but it does speak of the institution of marriage. So, interesting. Let's see what other people have to say. Okay. Hey, Lori. Lori wants to know what 2020 holds for her. Good to see you here. Hey, Cheryl Watson came in. Nice to see you. Okay, so if you'd like to read for Lori, L-O-R-I, what might happen for her in 2020? What should her focus be? What do we see? Ace of Pentacles reversed. It may be a job change. There may be some financial issues. You may want to hustle to get ahead of that. Okay. Sorry, that wasn't like the happiest thing. But forewarned is forearmed, and that's part of what tarot is for. All right. Kathy, nice to see you here. What does the universe want Kathy to know? If you would like to read for Kathy, she's Kathy with a K. Put her name, the name of the card you got. Okay, and actually, Kathy has changed her question to be more specific about the new year. What do we see in 2020 for Kathy? Okay, so if you'd like to answer that question, go ahead. It's a very similar question, really, if you think about it. Kathy, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Page of Pentacles, I don't remember if you have kids, but if you do, you may see one of them advancing and doing very well. If this is referring to you, it could be you, it could be your kids, it could be about going to school. It could be about a job change, about growth. Either way, for you and your family, it seems like growth, it seems like learning, it seems like moving forward. Okay, and if you're pulling cards, yes, a son, Kathy says, so we could see good things for your son this year. And if you're pulling cards, make sure you put the name of the person you're reading for, the card you got, and your interpretation. Okay, hey, Robin. Robin Levine, we have missed you. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We have a workshop. I don't know if you're back in town. We've got a workshop here in the new office this Sunday, the 4 Elements. Would love to see you. Okay, lots of readings. Deirdre, this may be silly. Hey, what do they say? There are no silly questions. I'm concerned about my cat, Sasalu. Is that how you say it? She's having some health issues, but I want to make sure she's comfortable. That is not silly at all. And I think it is absolutely possible for us to read for animals. I do it all the time. Okay, so Sasalu. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. If you'd like to read for Deirdre, go ahead and put her name, Deirdre, the name of the card you got, and what you think. How is Sasalu doing? Is she comfortable? How's she going to be? What do you see? The Lover's reversed. I don't think she is uncomfortable, but I'm concerned that her health issues could be serious. And Celeste says pets are family, damn straight. The issues could be serious. You want to pay attention. Now, I also wonder with this card, because you have more than one cat, I think, is there anything going on in your cat family where they're not getting along? If one of the other cats is picking on her, you're going to want to, Sassy Lou, got it, Sassy Lou. You're going to want to be aware of that and maybe keep her sequestered. Maybe she is not comfortable dealing with another cat. Okay. Lots of readings going on. Hey, Sarah, nice to see you. Okay, and if you do a reading, make sure that you put the name of the card you got as well. Okay. Hey, John McElroy. Good to see you. Any new romance relationship coming in the near future, please? Okay, what do we see? Do we see love for John? And if I have skipped your question, please put it back in. I do apologize. If I've asked you to word your question differently, please do that, and we will get to you. We still have plenty of time here. Okay, John. If you'd like to read for John, go ahead and put his name, John, John, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation, any new romance relationship coming for him. Page of Cups, hell to the yes. I think there is something new, and I think it's going to be sweet. I feel good about it. Okay. And by the way, when I get pages in that regard, I do think about internet dating because web pages, apps, that kind of thing. So that might be an advice there. Okay. Okay, Irene, please, possible for Irene, please, insight about my possible business partnership. Okay. Okay, the kitty is Deirdre. Okay. Irene, possible business partnership. How does it look? How does it look? If you'd like to read for Irene, put her name, Irene, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. What do you think about a possible business partnership she has coming up? Ten of Swords. Be careful, spell everything out, have a contract, or you might need to rethink this. Okay, very good. Okay, Sonia, are things going to get better in my household? If you would like to read for Sonia, go ahead and put her name. Sonia, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Will things get better in Sonia's household, or what does she have to do to make them better? The Empress reversed. That's a difficult thing. You may need to really take charge and make some changes for there to be improvement. A question for Kimberly. Should I try to find a different day job or just keep the one I have while I work toward being a full-time tarot reader? Okay, let's take a look. What should Kimberly do? Keep the day job. You know, Grateful Dead had a song about that. They said, keep your day job until your night job pays. On the other hand, though, you're not saying get rid of the day job. You're saying, do I change the day job or just stay where I am? That's really what you're saying. So, and I could see it either way, because if you don't like your day job, a new job would be good, but that takes energy away from the tarot business, doesn't it? So, in light of the fact that Kimberly is working toward being a full-time tarot reader and maybe having a beautiful office like this, I'm sorry, I'm allowed. I just moved in here and I am loving my new office. Okay. Does she find a new job or does she keep her current job? If you would like to read for her, go ahead and put her name, Kimberly, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation. Kimberly the Sun. I say stay where you are. You know, I think anything that takes energy away from the tarot business is not worthwhile. My good friend Karen, there is a job posted at work with everything going on. Is it too early for a job move? Should Karen consider the new job posting? If you'd like to read for her, go ahead and, oh, thank you, Linda. I love my new place too. Go ahead and, Karen, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. Should she go for the new job that has been posted? Four of Pentacles reversed? Absolutely yes, 100%. Okay, lots of readings going on. Amy, what does the universe want Amy to know? I don't know if you guys saw, but Amy and I collaborated on a blog post. It's on my website. It's called Seekers Beware. We work together to talk about red flags and warning signs for metaphysical scam artists. Unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of good-hearted, talented people like us out there, but there's also a lot of scammers. How can you tell the difference? Amy and I worked together to create this blog post. You'll find it on my website, christianagaudette.com. Okay, what does Amy want? What does the universe want Amy to know? Hey, Christine Claire, nice to see you. What does the universe want Amy to know today? If you'd like to read for Amy, AMIE. Let's see what we got here. Put her name, the name of the cards you got, and your interpretation. And if I've read for you, then definitely go and read in the comments because other people are reading for you too. And go ahead and interact with them in the comments. Okay, we are coming to the end. We're going to do a few more questions here because I know there are a few more questions, but within the next few minutes, we will be closing down readings and going to our workshop. Okay, let's see. Amy, what does the universe want Amy to know? Oh, this is funny, Amy. Didn't you see this card earlier today? Page of Swords reversed. Just because you don't know the truth yet does not mean there is anything to fear. How about that? Okay. Hey, TK is a good reader. He's doing a good job in here. That's all very good. Okay. Leisha says it makes sense. Very good. Okay, readings for Joe. Hey, Maya got the same card I did. In her deck, it's the High Priest, but it's the same thing for Joe. Okay. Looking for final questions. Thank you guys so much for doing such a great job reading for each other. That's really what this is all about, isn't it? Is how we can come together across the globe and read for each other. Hey, Sarah, glad to see you. Anything the universe has in store for me? Okay, what does the universe want Sarah to know? If you would like to read for Sarah, go ahead and put her name, Sarah, S-A-R-A, the name of the card, and your interpretation. King of Wands reversed. I feel like you are not in your energy. You are such a talented person, so creative, so psychic. You yourself are a reader. And I feel like you're not feeling it. You're not feeling your energy. I think you need to do something to help yourself take better care of yourself. Hey, Karen, nice to see you. Hope to see you soon. Karen Maynard in the house. Okay, Maribel, nice to see you doing some readings. Okay, looking for final readings before we move over. You guys, thank you so much for being here and doing this. Christine Claire, so happy to see you here. Okay, here, this may be our final question for Trisha. My husband's job will no longer insure me. My full-time job charges a lot for insurance, like $714 a month. Is this my push to go part-time or get a different job or stay put? Okay, given the insurance quandary, what should Trisha do? If you'd like to read for her, go ahead and put her name. Trisha, the name of the card you got and your interpretation. What does she do given this? Should she get a new job? Should she get a second job? Should she stay put? What should she do? Ten of Cups. Well, I sure like your husband. You know, this, and it's funny because the workshop that was suggested for us is about how do you interpret cards that come up to answer questions where there really isn't an easy fit. How do you interpret this card in this context? And I would sort of say, wherever you go, you will do well. This does not necessarily say you need a change. Now, it is a 10, so that could be the end of a cycle. I feel like you'll be happy no matter what you do. You'll need to choose. But, you know, it's interesting that the change came from your husband's job. And this is a card that very often talks about marriage and family. Does he need a new job? Is there a solution there? Are there other solutions that you haven't thought of? Okay, very good. Okay, we are just going to take a couple more questions and then we'll move over to the workshop portion of our program. We will do Christine Claire. I'd love to know about the family reunion in December in France. How will it turn out? So, if you'd like to put her name, Christine Claire, the name of the card you got, and your interpretation, go right ahead. How will the family reunion in December go? Judgment reversed. There's some old business. There may be some people who haven't gotten along and haven't gotten over it. What you want is an energy of fresh start. You do want to observe old family traditions, and that will be nice. But you also want to make sure that people aren't bringing old baggage to a new table. Okay. Hey, Nelson, nice to see you. Okay, so this is TK's friend Cassie. I didn't see her reading. I'm sorry, I didn't see her question, so we'll go ahead and do it. Her name is Cassie, Cassie. What does 2020 hold for Cassie? Cassie, I'm sorry we missed you. Okay, very good. Hey, Jeannie, just home from work. Glad to see you. Hope you had a good day at work. Cassie, what 2020 holds for you. If you are not already in a love relationship, there is a love relationship coming. If you already are in a love relationship, you can expect it to be strengthening. You can expect growth as far as love and friendship and people around you. This is a very positive, auspicious card. There will be love all around you. Okay. So, we are at 7:34. So 4 minutes past our switchover time. I am going to get to Nilsa because she's like such a regular here. So Nilsa, what do we see in Nilsa's current relationship? And this will be our last one. If we haven't gotten to you, I do apologize, but do come back next month and just try to get in right at 7:00. Hey, Mary Collins, nice to see you. Glad you're here. And we're going to see you at the workshop on Sunday, aren't we? Okay, so Nilsa will be our last reading. If you would like to read for her, go ahead and put her name, Nilsa, Nilsa, and the name of the card. You got your interpretation. What do you see for the current relationship? 4 of Wands. You know, this is the traditional card of marriage. At the very least, it predicts stability. So I think there could be some good things here. Okay, so that was our last reading for this session. I'm sorry for those of you that we didn't get to, but again, next time, do try to get in a little earlier in the session. We always start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will meet again in January. So now, those of you who are still doing readings, and Maria, I am so sorry you were late in line. Do try to get in next month, and we will look forward to seeing you then. So, keep your cards out because now we move into the workshop portion of our program. If you have particular questions about tarot reading, about cards that you don't understand, about a card that you've been getting, you can go ahead and put those questions in. You can finish up the readings that you're doing. But the topic that we've been asked to talk about, Mary will be there Sunday. Perfect. And I hope others of you will be as well. It's the 4 Elements workshop. And we'll be working with the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, and water, in terms of divination, in terms of healing, and in terms of manifestation. So this is a very good workshop for anyone who wants to embrace healing, for anyone who wants to work to manifest what they want in their lives. So I hope if you're local, you will consider attending on Sunday and join Mary Collins, me, and a few other people. Okay, very good. So the question at hand has to do with when cards are out of context and specifically with suits. For instance, we had the great example today. Oh, and here's a good question from Maria. The Tower card and the 10 of Swords. What do you do What do you do with negative cards? And, I actually want to start with that one. I'm going to, because we didn't get to your reading question, Maria, I'm going to answer your question about tarot first. How about that? So, how do you guys feel about those cards that are sort of considered traditionally negative? The Tower, the Ten of Swords. Are there other cards that you have those feelings about as well? Karen's coming Sunday. Yay! That makes me so happy. And I'm glad you're feeling better. I know you weren't feeling well. Okay. Karen's going to be reading at our holiday open house too. So let me know, are there cards that you think of as always negative? Are there cards that you hate to see when you're reading for yourself or reading for someone else? How do you handle those cards? Which cards are they? And, I have a feeling, when I think about the cards, we all have our own relationships with the cards. But I think we do the best readings, whether we're reading for ourselves or for other people. I think we do the best readings when we don't ascribe positive or negative to the cards. We all do it. And if you read an old tarot book, I started with Eden Gray, and Eden Gray would talk about, well, this is a good card and this is a bad card. But I sort of feel like any card could say something good or bad. So let's play a game to prove that. The Tower. What is a positive thing about the Tower? It could be enlightenment. It could be something earth-shaking in a good way. Joanne says any card can be either way. The Tower could be about getting rid of what doesn't serve you. Now, with both the Tower and the Ten of Swords, Celeste says the Five of Pentacles worries me. Oh, I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. I've got some good stuff to say. And if you guys have stuff to say about the cards that are mentioned, what's good about the Tower? What's good about the Ten of Swords? Go ahead and put it in. Sarah says the Tower is basically my life. Wait a minute, I got to go find that. The Tower is basically my life. I just like to try to see what comes after the card. Greatness comes from hardship. Sure. Tricia says it can be a push in the right direction. Now, TK says the Tower card can reduce arrogance. Now, the Ten of Swords is hard, but it might just say you need acupuncture. It might just say you need to stop saying bad things to yourself. Karen talks about being tactful when reading for other people. And this is where, sometimes a more positive spin is helpful and is really the more accurate reading. Let's see. Kimberly says Tower is clearing away distractions and everything that was making things not work. Right. So if you see the Tower, you can say, it may be time to clear away what isn't working. And what you're thinking is, man, you better dump the bomb. But what you're saying is, you need to evaluate your life and think about what's working and what's not working and what changes you need to make. Okay, Susan says the Tower frees you when you need it, whether you want to or not. David says, I usually say the Tower clears way for building something fresh and new. Amy, similar thought, the Tower of freedom from restrictions of what doesn't work. Linda says it could be a nice surprise, a new home, cleaning out the old, making room for the new. Karen says it's sudden change. And Maria comes back and says, okay, good. What about the Ten of Swords? So, the Ten of Swords, Mary Ellen Collins, who will also be reading here at the Holiday Open House. We have Mary Ellen Collins and we have Mary Collins. We got a lot of Collins people. They're not related. What she says about the Ten of Swords is, and I'm going to say, Maria, no, they're not bad. They can be, but they're not always. So the Ten of Swords, you might just look at it and say, stick a fork in me, I'm done. It could be about just having the courage to say, I've had enough, I'm going to do something different now. And so I think we really want to practice being open to seeing those darker cards in more positive ways. Joanne says the Ten of Swords to me is as often as far down as you can get, so the only other direction is up. That's beautiful. Marion says, I'm happier at seeing the Ten of Swords in a reading rather than the Nine of Swords. Sure. Kimberly says, I'm always afraid to interpret the Three of Swords in a positive way in case I'm just being in denial. Do you think it can ever be positive in a relationship reading? Well, you know what I say? There is a huge opportunity for healing. Whether you can have that healing together as a couple or whether you each must go your separate ways to heal is something that you'll need to determine. Okay. Billy, the Ten of Swords can be the worst of times, so move on. Better times are ahead. Beautiful. Amy, Ten of Swords can mean that troubling things are actually at their end and we're going to move forward. Karen, the universe's way of changing your course, even if you don't want to or think you're not ready. Susan, Ten of Swords, don't beat a dead horse. What's done is done. Leave the past behind and move to brighter shores. Irene says it could be the person playing the role of a martyr. Linda, only good thing about the Ten of Swords for me is a new cycle. Joanne says maybe the Ten of Swords is also telling you you're holding yourself down. Susan, Ten of Swords, burying the hatchet. TK, Tarot Tower shows what is standing and what is not. Ten of Swords shows what all has been your limitations. Very good. Now let's go to Celeste, Five of Pentacles. I love the Five of Pentacles because I see it as the opportunities you're not seeing. There are always opportunities. You know, what did Thomas Edison say? Trouble is just opportunity in work clothes. When we see the Five of Pentacles, what we can see is there are opportunities there. You just have to look harder for them. Find your opportunities. So this has been, I think, a good lesson in looking at those darker cards and seeing them in a more positive light, and also how you might deliver that message to somebody else. Now, what about those happier cards? How do you interpret those? When, is the sun always happy? I say no. Sometimes it's a narcissist. Sometimes the star is a diva. And so this is where you use context and intuition to figure out what the card is saying. About the Five of Pentacles, Joanne says, get yourself out of your depression and have more faith in yourself, damn it. I added the damn it for inflection. I agree. Kimberly, about the Ten of Swords, says, ending of a long project that involved a lot of mental activity, a novel or dissertation. Joanne says the sun can burn. So now let's go back. Now that we've had that exercise, that was good. Let's go back to reading in context, especially having to do with the suits. When we talk about the suits, we think about pentacles, having to do with solid things, material things. How do you read a pentacles card if the question is spiritual or if the question is about love? What about a job? Question about a job. Today we had a question about a job, and the card that came up was the Ten of Cups. How do you handle that? So there's a lot of ways to play with that. I am always a fan of pulling more cards. We don't do that in this context because we're all getting a chance to pull a card. And so it is an exercise in getting as much as you can out of a single card, but you can always pull more cards and see where it takes you. I am a fan of using more cards, not less. Now, the other thing to do is to think about the key words of the card and see how the key words could apply to the situation. So, for instance, with that 10 of Cups, we saw 10, end of a cycle. Maybe you do want to think about a different job. But we also saw cups, feelings. Do what you feel is best. You see how we did that there. And so this is where those key words can really come in handy. The other thing is just look at what the pictures in the cards are doing and see how that applies. Karen, Five of Pentacles. You have or are going to get the flu. That's what happened to you. Linda, Five of Pentacles. There is help and support. You just need to ask for it. Kimberly's son, too much truth or you can't handle the truth. There you go. David, here's a question. I tell the querent that I don't want to know the question beforehand. Is that a mistake? I don't think so. So here's the thing. I do the same. Well, if the querent wants to give me the question, I will take the question. Some querents like that. I like to give them the option. But my preference is to go in and see what I see first. Because what they think their questions are and what their questions really are might be two different things. And I also think that in a professional reading or in a professional type reading, they may think they only have one question, but you're going to answer more than one question. I encourage people to come in with a list of questions. Let's answer them all. And very often in an opening spread, you can find all those questions, and then you can pull cards or do other spreads to answer them. So I think it can be very helpful to not know the question because then you're just going in with a clean brain. So I say no, not a mistake at all. So, other questions about tarot and other thoughts. People are very silent about the reading and context question. When the card comes up that doesn't match the context, what are your thoughts? How do you make it match? How do you make it work? Joanne says, I've said many times that I do a small 5-card spread before any questions, and that spread leads to the main issue, then questions will follow. Yeah, that's a good way to go. So here's a good example. I just made a video on this that's going to go up on YouTube and on my blog probably tomorrow. But I was doing a spread where the position was the flame. And it is the position is, this is your spark of hope. And the card that came up was the damn 4 of Swords. How is the 4 of Swords a spark of hope? And what really came up for me was that what's going to give you hope is the ability to step back and take a rest. So even though that's not the most hopeful card, just by interpreting it that way, it worked. So let's see what else we got going on here from Billy. Keep the 5 of Swords confined to material troubles. Don't let it bring down your other energies. In fact, rely on them. What do you mean by that? I want you to elaborate on what you mean by that. That feels like there's some wisdom in there, but I'm not understanding what you're saying. Help me out there. David, I notice that the cards can decide to answer a different question. Oh, that is true. That is true, in which case you want to leave time toward the end of the session for people to ask whatever they want to ask. But it's true. Sometimes people will come in thinking that X is their biggest problem when really Y is. Okay. Joanne says not every card needs to be read, though, and it may fit in later. Susan, Pentacles, not just money. What do you value? Oh, yeah, Pentacles. Health, home, ancestry, and therefore family. Pentacles has a lot in it. You know, the 5 of Pentacles often comes up for people who have been kicked out of their family, who don't feel their family's love. So it's an interesting thing. You know, Cups and Pentacles are the 2 feminine suits. Swords and Wands are the 2 masculine. There's crossover between every suit, but particularly is there crossover between Swords and Wands and Cups and Pentacles. Karen, 10 of Cups for work. It's a lovely union. You're going to love it. Sure. Marion says, I use the element of the suit for context. For example, if it's a work question, I get Wands. I ask, do I still have passion for this job? Yay! Now we're talking. Yes, exactly. Karen, it's kind of off the cuff, so I don't know ahead of time what I will say, but I hate when that happens. When what happens? When the question that's being answered is not the question that's being asked? Is that what you're talking about? Go ahead and try to help me understand that too. So I've got a couple of people I'm hoping will come back with more for me to see here. Susan says, Swords answers the question, what's really on your mind? Karen, Four of Swords, meditating will bring you peace and hope. Irene, the card also tells you what to do in order to answer the question. Talking about your example with Four of Swords, absolutely. Kimberly says, I read all cards in context. I don't like when people ask about work and then when they pull the Ten of Cups, decide that the cards want to talk about family instead. A job can also involve accumulation of emotions, or the work could be something that runs in the family. If you have the same job as parent or grandparents, or maybe your workmates are more like family than your actual family, or maybe you're spending so much time at work that it's your whole life. Sure. Here, Billy, thank you. Don't make an analogy of material troubles to one who is visually impaired. Their sense of hearing and touch becomes elevated. Well, so, and again, your mileage may vary, but Pentacles does talk about the body. And so it could talk about a physical limitation. However, you're absolutely right that that's exactly what it would say. If it was talking about someone who is visually impaired, it would say, yes, but you can still do this, this, and this. So I think maybe we are on the same page there. Susan says about wands, what are your motives? And cups, what do you need to be happy? So that's good stuff. And, Kimberly says she reads all cards in context. I agree. But then there's also that thing that David said, that sometimes the cards will bring up something completely different. And for me, that's not just like one card in answer to a question, but if every card, like, for example, someone comes in to talk about their job. I look at 11 cards and I'm seeing all reversed or poorly aspected. 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, 4 of Wands, Lovers, 2 of Cups. I'm seeing all of that. We're going to have to talk about their relationship too. And so that's a very interesting question. At what point is that card that feels out of context one that you just need to interpret in context and stretch to do it? And at what point are the cards pointing out an elephant in the room? Yes, that's a problem. There are people who come in with really big problems they don't want to talk about and little problems they do want to talk about. And that will show up in the cards too. How do you know the difference? So when we talk about context, in this conversation, the context has been provided by the question itself. Sometimes the context is provided by the position, such as the Four of Swords in the position of flame. It's like the least fiery card in the world, right? But other things provide context too. For example, the surrounding cards, as in the example I just gave. So suppose the question is, oh, Dina, good. So in that example I gave, Dina says, well, you can ask them if they're open to talking about relationships. That's a great way in. To say, there's a lot in the cards about your relationship. Are you open to talking about that? And sometimes that gives them the freedom to say, yeah, no, not this time. So that's brilliant, Dina. Thank you for sharing that. Celeste, if cards are out of context, how do you lead the person to what the cards are telling? I like what Dina said, to say, well, we've got all of these cards about this. I know you came in to talk about spiders, but all of these cards are pointing to polar bears. Are you okay with talking about polar bears? And that's, I think, a brilliant way to do it. Susan said, one card may be on point. Overall patterns suggest other topics. Completely agree. Karen says, yes, sometimes you have to pull more cards. Absolutely. And again, to Joanne's point, you don't have to read every single card. If you're pulling cards to tell a story, find the story within the cards. Some cards are going to have more weight than others, depending on the amount of time you have. Okay, we are coming to the end of our time together. This is the last Global Tarot Circle for 2019. Let's see what Kimberly has to say. I think in a longer reading, it makes sense that a lot of extra things will come up, but in a very short reading, good point. In a very short reading, I feel like it's more useful to assume there is some relationship to the question asked. So if family is coming up, it may still be that the situation in the family is impacting the situation at work. Good call. Kimberly just made a lot of important points about the time allotted for the reading and how you're going to handle that. And also how one thing that you're seeing is impacting the actual question. Joanne says, I usually find that if the cards stray off their initial question, it will tell them this is a bigger issue they should address. Celeste says, good idea. If they are not willing, do you pull more cards? If they're not willing, I honor that they're not willing, and I find a way to address what they want to address. But it's funny because sometimes the cards are keep going to want to steer them in that direction because that can happen. But you can try to steer it back and just let them know, clearly the universe thinks this really is a pressing issue. Okay, you guys, we are coming to the end of our time. Now is the time for shameless self-promotion. If you want to promote your website, your Facebook page, something that you are doing, an event, something of that nature, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I really like it when we can support each other as a community. So please do, and thank you for supporting each other with your knowledge, with your readings, with your energy. Thanks so much for being here. We will do this again next month. And again, be looking for my free workshop on YouTube coming up once a month. For those of you local, we got 4 Elements workshop this Sunday, holiday open house the following Sunday. And yes, I do need a couple more volunteers for 3 to 6. So TK, David, go ahead and PM me. I might not get back to you tonight. I'll get back to you tomorrow. And yes, we could really use you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. My shameless self-promotion. I am available by phone, Skype, FaceTime, Messenger, and here in my Palm City office. I am available for readings and also for mentorship. Steve says, see you soon. Yeah, literally, I will see you soon. I'm looking forward to it. And so please do reach out. And both of my books are available on Amazon and Ingram. So go ahead and get my books, Tarot Tour Guide and Fortune Stellar. Okay, Sherry, how about I want to have tarot events to read at? Okay, that's a good question for next time. Hey, Julie, I didn't even see you here. Thanks so much for being here. A good question for next time, how to create your own tarot events. And of course, you know what? I do a weekly newsletter, comes out every Wednesday. If you're not on my mailing list, just go to my website, christianagaudette.com, sign up for my newsletter. Very good. And thanks so much, everyone. Really appreciate you all. I will look forward to seeing you all soon. Take really good care.